Hi, good morning, everybody. So good to see you all. That was so amazing, wasn't that? Informative and inspiring, educational. I'm Arica Gonzalez. I'm the executive director of the Urban Oasis, and today I'm going to take you on a little field trip with me to Baltimore, Maryland. Okay? So I'll start off with a little story. A few years ago, I'm driving in the car with my then 5-year-old daughter, and she's looking out the window, and she sees the lights and the shops and people walking their dogs and the cleanliness and the baseball fields. And she says something. She says, "Wow, Mommy, is this my world?" And I'm from New York, so I'm like, "What are you talking about, kid? That's crazy." Like, of course this is your world. What are you talking about? And she says, "No, but it's so beautiful. Is this my world?" And I said to her, "Yes, baby, this is your world." But it wasn't. You see, we had to drive 16 minutes to get to her school in the south of Baltimore, and then drive the 16 minutes back to get to our home in West Baltimore. My daughter's world looked different. Behind our home in West Baltimore, there were dilapidated garages. It was rat-infested. There was drug dealing. There were vacant properties. So much disinvestment poured into this. And I remember when my daughter asked me that question, I knew that she was connecting something between her environment and her value, right? That the environment that she was in was an expression of her personal worth. Right? And to come home and to see this disconnect between my beautiful baby and my not so beautiful home, something was off. Something was off. It had to be addressed, right? And so my daughter really spurred something in me. Let's see if I can get to the next part. A little peek at the garages behind our home. Because this wasn't a new sentiment that things needed to be changed. For over 40 years, my neighbors had been asking the city to demolish these dangerous garages and to take care of this space, but nothing had been done. But we realized that people would not care as much about the space we called home as much as we did. And so we had to take ownership of this, and the opportunity presented itself one day when a city official came and presented to us the idea of an alley gating and greening project, that we could go into our alley corridor, gate our space, and green it. We would enter into a lease agreement with the city. But here's the catch, that each block would have to decide whether or not they wanted to go forward with this project. You needed to get 80% of homeowners' signatures in order to successfully enter into the lease agreement, and the neighborhood was responsible for raising all of the funds to put the gates in themselves. The successful projects that they showed us of communities that had gone through this had maybe 10 homes on a block and had placed gates up for security measures. Maybe they needed 1 or 2 gates at tops. We had 50 homes on our block, most of them with absentee landlords or vacant. We still had to get homeowner signatures. And the median household income in our community is $45,000 annually for a family of 3. And we also had 4 gates that we needed to purchase. And so that was a huge task, and we were up for it. If anyone could do it, we could. So we gathered our neighbors together and we said, you know what, let's just pool our money and see what we can do to enter into this agreement. And so we had like a little popcorn and cookie sale, and we raised $100. My daddy gave 70 of that. I love him so much. He gave $70, so we raised $100 that day. But with that $100, we were able to open a bank account to begin this process of fulfilling and satisfying a dream that we had as a community, a dream to have our neighborhood reflect the beauty and resilience of its residents. But who were the residents? We didn't know each other. Honestly, collecting those signatures for the gate was the first time that I met a lot of my neighbors. And then, to top it all off, we started this project in the beginning of COVID. And so COVID really highlighted to us that we could not safely navigate our outdoor environment because we couldn't stay socially distanced because it was rat infested, there were weeds, it was overgrown. But we weren't seeing each other and we weren't able to live a life together. So the number one priority for us became seeing each other and getting to know each other. So on the first Sunday of the summer months, we hosted something called Sunday dinner, where we knocked on our neighbors' doors and asked them, would you just pull your dinner table out, cook your own meal, and bring it to your own front walkway and let us eat a socially distanced meal together. Let us see each other's faces, let us learn each other's name, and let us understand what it looks like to live a life with one another. And boy, have we been living a life with one another. Now I can name every child on the block, and I can tell on them when they're acting up too. They're good kids. So this alley then that was a place of representation of what was wrong with our community and our society has now been transformed into a beautiful space, not gates that look like jail bars, a gate that has a tree growing, life and expressions of life to match the beauty of the residents there. We've built this beautiful 12-foot wide, 7-foot tall outdoor library where we host our story time at the Oasis programming. Kids and people from all walks of life come and gather books and place books, and we're able to think about how we can have a space that is formed and shaped for the humans who will occupy it, not humans forcing themselves to fit into a space that doesn't match them. Beyond that, those dilapidated garages that I had shown you in the beginning, we got them knocked down. We did that. The beauty about knocking down those garages was that for the first time ever, we were able to see our neighbors across the alley. And so we created a beautiful walking garden. So now at midnight, which is around the time I took this photo, you could sit down in the alley and see your neighbors and relax, and it is the most peaceful place. And then across the street, we had an overgrown lot where the weeds literally came to our shoulders. And we did the bare minimum. We mowed the lawn. We put in a community stage. We said, now we can accommodate humanity. So this space now hosts festivals and events, and we're able to celebrate life with one another. Can you feel the difference in what happens when you accommodate life, when you accommodate humanity? And so now we're getting kind of spoiled, and we're like, you know what? We can do so many amazing things. We can do big things, and each accomplishment was proving to us that we were capable, right? But what are the limits that we can push ourselves to as humans? I said, you know what? Let's invite the Baltimore Symphony Orchestra to perform here in West Baltimore. Hey, BSO, there's a vacant lot on our corner in West Baltimore. Won't you come and bring your 100-member orchestra to fill the streets of West Baltimore? They said yes. Not only did they say yes, but Governor Wes Moore came and celebrated with us that day. But the big accomplishment was that my 96-year-old neighbor, Mrs. Stewart, heard the orchestra for the first time in her life because they came to her community, because we made space for life, room for us in West Baltimore. I'm running behind on time, but I need to talk about the generations that are impacted by the work that we do and how we make this work last beyond us, right? I'm so thankful for Ms. Stewart that she was able to live this life, and I'm thankful for all that I have been able to pour out for my own children. But there's a generation coming up after us that are learning, they're intelligent, they are resilient, and they're the ones taking the reins to do this good work. The Oasis Teens Environmental Program is a group of about 15 teenagers from different households within our community, and they do all of the work of building up community. They mow the lawns, they grow produce to distribute to the neighbors. They are amazing, amazing leaders in our community. They were featured on the front page of the Baltimore Sun. And so I just want to share this with you because all of this came from nothingness. All of this that we were able to create came from depravity and what looked bleak. But there are instances and standards that we had for ourselves, the possibilities of what could be. Right? And so I'm excited to be in the room with each of you because we're talking about what happens when we put trust in practice. There's a song that I like to sing, and I'll sing it briefly and I'll get off the stage. But it's called It's Only a Paper Moon by Nat King Cole. He sings a version of it. And there's a little piece that goes, it is only a paper moon hanging over a cardboard sea. But it wouldn't be make-believe if you believe in me. Thank you.